What's something subtle that instantly gives you bad vibes about someone? Not being a reliable narrator and believing your assumptions as facts. Small exaggerations or telling stories from your perspective once in a while are fine, but seemingly being unable to frame your perspective and feeling separate from the rest of the world is concerning. My sister will often state other people's thoughts or feelings she believes as if they are fact. Needless to say, she can't be relied on for a trustworthy depiction of events, even in the most low-stakes scenarios. My mom and her partner are exactly like this. They make a presumption and then it becomes gospel truth. They also grossly exaggerate other people's reactions but seem to believe what they're saying. It's incredibly grating. I'm very guilty of this. I'm not sure how to stop. They don't return the cart after loading up the car. I saw a woman just push her cart right behind my car as I was walking up. I pushed it right behind her car so she had to get out and move it. I'm in a wheelchair, so whenever I see someone abandon their cart and get in their car, I take great pleasure in returning their cart in front of them. Like it, what the fuck is wrong with you that you can push a full cart around a grocery store for half an hour, but not the last 40 feet when it's empty to the cart return? It's gotta be excruciating for them to watching me struggle to return it while pushing my wheelchair, and I love every minute of it. Petty, but great entertainment. Amazing, thank you for your service, lol. Shit talking their significant other. Insulting them is bad, but if they can't get out the frustrations with a friend, who do they vent to? The significant other? I think it's totally fine to vent to friends if it's A, minor, everyday frustrations about leaving the cap off of toothpaste, etc., or B, talking to a single, good friend about a more serious matter that you need to talk to someone about. But if the person makes a habit of insulting their partner in a serious tone, then that's a different thing. I think of shit talking as the jokey, light-hearted but true insults, and insults as just using words to try and hurt someone. They interrupt multiple times when it's your turn to tell a story or explain something. Edit, I have Asperger's and ADD. I'm quite aware of how difficult it may be to tame these urges to do so. My comment is more directed towards those who are narcissistic, fake, or micro-controlling as a behavior. Thank you for all the further comments. I hope I didn't offend anyone from any misunderstanding. Asks you a question, then interrupts your answer. I'm getting old. I've had enough of that behavior. When someone does that to me, I look at them directly and unblinkingly. And ask them, if you didn't want to hear the answer, why did you ask me the question? They usually stammer back with I thought you were finished. Like, right, I was finished as I was halfway through the word something. When you share meaningless info about you or someone and they make it your or their defining quality. Basically, they put you and other people in a box. Another one is when they start playfully roasting you too early on in a connection. That's for close people, and we aren't anywhere near that. This always makes me think of my mother-in-law. My wife and I started dating in high school, and the first time I went over to her house, her mom offered me a drink. We have water, iced tea, lemonade, etc. I said, I'd love some iced tea, thank you. Totally normal. Every single time I went back to that house for at least a year, the first thing her mother would say when I walked in the door was, I brewed some iced tea because I knew you were coming over. Or I made sure we have tea in the fridge for you. Or something similar. Like, don't get me wrong, I like iced tea, but I also enjoy other beverages. Understandable. It can be situation dependent too. I.e., I have a family member who is very particular about black coffee. He doesn't like the sweet blends I like to make. So just because he prefers the non-sweetened stuff or the dessert blend coffees my sweet tooth self loves so much, I make sure I just have typical medium roast for him available. how they treat someone in a service position, wait staff, etc. That an immediate date over if they are rude to wait staff or retail workers. Same here. I went on a blind date once with a guy who thought he was hot shit and assumed I'd be impressed if he threw around money and just acted like a superior asshole. He was one of those unbearable people who puts money on the table and tells the server that's their tip and he'll take some away every time the server displeases him. It was insufferable. I ended the date before we even ordered food and I tipped and apologized to everyone he was an asshole to on my way out of the restaurant. Here at company we are like family. Narcissistic, abusive, and completely detached from reality? Just like mother. Okay, Mike Pence. Sense of entitlement. The opposite can be just as bad too. I have too many friends who would feel obligated to give you their last dollar if you asked them for it, and I used to be the same way. There's a balance that should be maintained between knowing your value and letting it go to your head. When they're far too pushy with questions and don't leave you alone despite you making it super obvious that you don't want to answer their questions. I really hate this. I had one lady say, "Wow, usually people will eventually give up and tell me what I want to be courteous." Yeah. I don't care about making you comfortable. I'm not gonna tell you a personal thing I don't want you to know. If someone else's comfort comes at the expense of your own, fuck that person. But that just makes more of them. When they leave their shopping cart stranded in the middle of the parking lot. The shopping cart test. The absolute test to see whether someone is a good person or not. Someone putting away their cart doesn't confirm that they're a good person, but not doing so definitively confirms that they're a shit person. All it does is show if the person can do something for the betterment of the community or if they only care about themselves. That whole compliment, but it's an insult thing, and then they laugh it off as a joke. Like, WTF is your problem? Backhanded compliments, yeah, that shit is annoying. OMG, I had a friend like that in the past who did this all the time. But then in the same breath was shocked and wondering why PPL didn't want to be around her. Fucking same. It's honestly probably my #1 pet peeve when people do this type of subtle passive-aggressive shit, especially if they're a good friend. Obsessing about how other people eat their food. Particularly getting annoyed at plain eaters. Like, eat your own food and mind your own damn business. How someone else eats isn't going to affect your food. I've never met someone who does that who didn't turn out to be a dick. I used to work at a fairly conservative, middle-aged office. I've been vegan for 12 years, so I bring my own food and just don't eat at potlucks and stuff. I'm pretty discreet about it, but it's not a secret. My one religious coworker found out and had a shit fit because God made the animals for us to eat. This meant any time I'd eat my lunch or if I had one of the bagels someone brought in, she would start grilling me about it, asking how what I was eating was vegan, trying to look for hypocrisies, or saying that my lunch was gross and she couldn't be around me because of it. This woman microwaved frozen pot pies for breakfast every day. I'm so glad leadership banned her from interacting with me. That shit was super weird. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.